Ever since gaming laptops even became a thing, there's this one problem that plagues the entire product category. You cannot replace the graphics cards on these things because they're baked right onto the motherboard, right? You go out, buy this new gaming laptop, it's super expensive and it's awesome for a little while, but then a few years later, when the new GPUs come out, you can't upgrade to it. You literally have to buy a whole new system, and it's ridiculous. Like, now that I think about it, what kind of idiot buys gaming laptops? It's why people meme on gaming laptops so hard, right? It's not so much the price or the performance, it's the fact that you can't upgrade the GPUs. But recently, I saw this.
You can do that?
So the company that made this is Framework. They made that 13-inch modular device that I reviewed before, but now they have a 16-inch device. It's more powerful, it's more upgradable, and it's more modular. Now, on the back of this device is a rear-mounted expansion bay. So this guy, this laptop Chad, is attaching a graphics module to a gaming laptop. Like, this is one of the most interesting things I've seen in laptops this entire year. Now, the idea of this isn't new. Like, we've seen other companies attempt these upgradable graphics module systems for devices, but invariably, those companies have always abandoned those projects prematurely. Like, the most recent one is probably Alienware's Area 51M, and other companies have tried this as well, but it never pans out. But I think there's two things that make it drastically different for Framework's attempt at this. So the first is that these modules are very cleverly designed, and they're unlike anything we've seen before. So they use a PCIe 4x8 connection, and you can connect like GPUs, NVMEs, AI accelerator cards, basically anything that connects via PCI can be connected with this module. But the other things that these modules contain is the system fans. So like the device itself, the laptop base unit doesn't have any fans in it. You need to connect one of these expansion modules to cool the device. But in doing so, it allows you to change the cooling system based on the needs of the user. So they have two kind of sample modules here. So in this first module, it has some NVMe slots and the system fans. There's no discrete GPU in here, and this module is the same thickness as the regular laptop. It's not a particularly thick device and doesn't extend out the back very much. But they had a second module with a discrete GPU inside it, and they have to pair this one with a bigger and more capable thermal system. So it makes the module a little bit thicker and it extends out the back a little bit more. But the idea being, when you get a more powerful GPU and you upgrade to it, you get an appropriately equipped thermal system for that new GPU. And this is a problem that the previous attempts at this could not solve. Like, even if you had a company that had upgradable GPUs in the past, you couldn't get an upgrade to the thermal system. And that was one of the reasons why a lot of these companies just discontinued these lines, because NVIDIA would make these new GPUs awesome, but the laptops couldn't handle the thermal output of the new GPUs. So you couldn't use them. But this modular system, it solves that. Now, the second thing that's unique to Framework is that it's Framework. Framework is a company that only deals with modular and upgradable and repairable systems, right? If you think about any other company that has attempted something like this, so let's say like Lenovo or Asus or Alienware, if they make a modular laptop system that gains traction and it's successful, it takes away from their regular laptop sales. You know what I'm saying? Like, it cannibalizes their regular laptop sales to the point where there's just not a strong incentive to excel at the modular laptop ecosystem. But with Framework, that's all they do. There's so much incentive for them to figure out how to make this work and to stick with that program for the long term. Now, on the 16-inch, just like the 13, you can open it up and replace the CPU and motherboard, the RAM, the storage, the screen, like all the good stuff can be swapped out. And it now has 6 slots for their I/O modules, including a headphone jack that is now modular as well. They removed that from the base unit of the device. Another neat thing, the keyboard deck is modular. You can swap it around and customize it. So you can have a regular keyboard layout if you want that vanilla keyboard experience, but if you want to, you can pop off the panels on the sides and then reposition the keyboard to the left and drop in a number pad, and you can reposition the trackpad on the bottom so you can have it centered to the alpha keys, or you can have it centered to the keyboard. It's just really customizable with open source support for developers. And I gotta say, there was something about that ad that just resonated nicely with me. Like, it's a little bit cheesy when they're drawing a comparison to someone building a desktop, and it's obviously stylized, but there was something about the message that just felt good. You know what I mean? Like these parts clicking in and out, it just feeling like a practical new way for laptops to be. And then the funny thing is that after I saw this video, on the sidebar, YouTube recommended this other ad from Alienware, and the contrast was just, my God. Like, you know what Alienware wants you to do with their $5,000 laptop? They want you to draw attention to you and your lights. Like, what kind of messaging is that? Imagine being in the library, reading a book, and some dude comes in, plugs in his laptop, and it's like a flashbang went off. Don't be that guy. There's a couple other things I noticed from the announcement. The screen is a 16:10 aspect ratio, but there's still a pretty sizable chin at the bottom, so theoretically, I think they could actually go with a taller aspect ratio if they offered a secondary screen, like another option. There's also no barrel plug connections on the sides of the device, so I'm assuming USB-C charging, maybe with that new 240 watt standard, but that would limit how powerful the GPUs could get in there. Like, 240 watts isn't a particularly powerful system, but if I had to guess as to like what the chip was inside here, my guess is that they go with AMD APUs to start, like a pretty powerful CPU and GPU combination, so like Zen 4, RDNA 3, all in this like single chip without the discrete GPU, and then if you want discrete GPUs, you can plug them up with the external modules in the back. But dude, this system is just so cool. The idea of it and what it represents for the future of performance laptops, seriously, the coolest thing I've seen this year when it comes to the mobile computing space.